Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Senator, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some cognac, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 67th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Planet Meat is here once a week. We're going to smoke a New World cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We do a deep dive through Cigar Aficionado's top 25 cigars of last year, and Senator shares the history of tonight's cognac pairing, all among a variety of other things for the next 2 hours. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Hine Rare VSOP Cognac with the New World Dorado by AJ Fernandez in Robusto. A Robusto tonight from AJ Fernandez. It's called the New World Dorado. It's a beautiful box press cigar, 52 ring gauge by 5.5 inches long. And boys,
beautiful wrapper.
It is.
Beautiful wrapper.
It
smells great.
It does.
It has our favorite thing on it, a footband.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this one's not fixed to the cigar with a piece of Scotch tape, but I do see that they use some sort of glue or something that,
like the El Senador?
On my cigar, it's ripping the wrapper off.
No way.
Right.
As I, yeah.
Mine came right off.
Jesus.
It's not glue. It's Nicaraguan spit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pectin or whatever they call it, the fruit.
Which has a lot of viscosity.
No, I think you have Cuban hands now. That's what it is.
I just don't. Can we talk candidly, as if the manufacturer was here with us?
Why do they do this?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
With these fucking footbands?
More advertising space.
As Senator has famously said many times, what are we doing?
That's a Gizmo line.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe it's done to protect the foot.
It comes in a box of 10, which is a really nice presentation.
In a cellophane.
A cellophane. In a little coffin. It's like a little tray inside the box. It's totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, sticky feet.
Let's cut this thing, boys.
Let's do it.
See, we're getting on the cold draw and the wrapper. So the construction's really nice on this thing, as Bam said.
Pristine. A little soft.
Yeah, so I don't think that's a product of humidity, as I had this in my tower with the lid open for about 2 weeks.
Mm.
So I think it's just not densely packed, which is a good thing, hopefully.
Draw is wide open.
Yeah, it's wide open. Yeah.
Perfect. Nice flavor on the draw.
Honestly, I get a better aroma off the wrapper and the foot than I do the draw.
The foot does smell really nice.
It smells delicious. It's chocolatey for me.
Yeah. I'm getting that dried fruit thing, the plum. Classic, Nicaraguan tobacco.
A little raisin.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's light this thing. The New World by AJ Fernandez. Dorado in Robusto. Again, it's 52 ring gauge, box press by 5.5 inches long. Feels really good in the hand. I think that extra half inch on it, as opposed to a 52 by 5, 52 by 5.5, I think works a little better for me.
Is this the first AJ Fernandez, or
it's the first?
We did one before, right?
I don't think we did.
Nope.
Unless did we do one of those? Did we do one of those Cuban imitations that he did?
No.
I know we talked about it, Senator. Do you remember?
No.
Anyway, non-memorable either way.
Yeah.
Sorry, Giz, before we keep going, this is so out of my wheelhouse. I'm not sure why you keep acting like I know anything about the cigar.
Hey, Senator, where did you get these?
Like, what does he say?
No, but remember we were talking about doing, was it Ramon Ionis, or there was one of the Cuban marcas that AJ Fernandez's father.
Some like Ramon Ionis by AJ Fernandez.
But then we ended up not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice on the light. Can't say it's bad.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it tastes good on the light.
Feels like I'm holding if I close my eyes, it feels like I'm holding an Exclusivo, kind of.
So we did very well on these as well, boys. We're kind of on a run of really, really budget cigars.
How much?
$7. Wow. So the reason why I bought the box of 10, I got it from Atlantic.
That's awesome.
With the VIP. No coupon codes or anything like that. Just the straight VIP. I got it for $70.
Nice.
And it showed up, and I was pretty impressed with the box when it came. It's a nice presentation.
Very.
Cigars look great. Yes, so $7.50 a stick.
How you guys feeling off the light here?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's not giving me a lot right now. It's kind of
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of muted.
pretty smokable though.
Yeah.
I always get more out of the smoke, out of the aroma in the beginning than I'm getting out of the cigar.
Which is actually very nice. I
Yeah,
like it.
the aroma's nice.
So this cigar is the first cigar made on the Dorado farm in Esteli, Nicaragua, by AJ Fernandez. And this little slip comes in the box that they're, clearly very proud. I think between the presentation, the really nice band on the cigar, it's an old world. I want to say like late 1800s, early 1900s type of artwork on the band.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
They're clearly very proud of what, he's proud of what he made here. And they put a little slip in the thing, and it says, "In his never-ending quest for the perfect blend, AJ Fernandez is a trailblazer who is constantly innovating and cultivating the best tobacco in the world from his many farms throughout Nicaragua. This cigar, the New World Dorado, is a triumph of AJ's passion and discipline. Please enjoy this blend as much as we enjoyed making it for you."
And now you said this is the very first cigar produced off that farm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So like you said, we were talking before we came on air.
Mhm.
This is an estate-grown cigar. And the Dorado wrapper it's made up of a sun-grown Cuban seed and then a Criollo, I can't say that. God, my Spanish. 98 binder, and then also Nicaraguan filler. Everything from the farm.
I think the cool thing about this, the only thing, as I was just doing a little reading before we got on here, I hadn't really thought about, there are not many cigars where the entire stick comes from one farm.
Yeah.
Even if we're smoking, let's say, a Nicaraguan Puro, it's from a bunch of different farms in Nicaragua, and they're blending all that together. And I love the wine analogy. It's like an estate grown and bottled wine where everything comes from just that vineyard's lot. Is pretty cool. And honestly, it's a little surprising at this price point that they would be able to do that. I mean, that
Yeah.
means you have so much confidence in the tobacco that you're growing on that one farm that you don't need to pull and source from other places to blend to make that into something, enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I was pretty impressed to see that.
It's a grower cigar.
There you go.
It's a very cool fact, actually.
What's interesting to your point about that, Senator, I didn't think about that till now, but it does.
There's many things I could say.
I
about
know.
that.
I was just waiting for it to
I
grow
tried
or
to.
not a
That's why I
shower.
tried to jump in. I was like, something's coming. I mean, it's clearly a commitment to his wanting to keep his prices reasonable. I mean, because he's got a name that he could put out a grower, estate grown cigar, say, put some age on it, box it like he did, even improve the box a little bit, and charge $20 or $25 a stick. And people would pay for
Triple
it.
the price of it. Yeah.
So, this is a commitment coming out, for as proud as they are clearly about this cigar, coming out with a cigar for $7-8 is pretty damn good. So this, I think Bam mentioned, so the plantation, this Dorado plantation, is only 5 years old, and the tobacco comes from its first ever harvest. So we're smoking the tobacco from the first ever harvest from the Dorado farm. So
that's kind of cool. I don't think we've ever done that on any cigar that we've smoked.
yeah.
So this
It's
cigar
interesting.
just came out then.
Yeah, it's very recent. I think it was just released sometime in 2022, probably September-ish.
I wonder
I
how
think.
long. So that did they age the tobacco?
There's no age statement on it. I would assume so
I'm
because
sure the
you
tobacco
can't put
is
fresh
aged.
Nicaraguan
Yeah,
out. It'll kill you.
It's a pretty tough financial commitment that you're making there,
Yeah.
because you have to continue to produce to make that farm viable.
I got to say, I'm not finding much in the flavor that is making me excited.
Yeah, this is what I'm having a hard time with. There's nothing offensive that I'm getting
No.
out of this cigar, but it's really subtle.
Yeah.
It's just a very subtle stick where anything I am getting is very faint. I'm hoping this picks up a little bit in flavor.
I just retrohaled, and you get a very mild espresso, and that's about it.
But it's weird. The smoke is
It's
strong,
Yeah.
but what you get out of the cigar,
on the draw.
yeah, like really mild and faint notes.
Subtle's a good way of stating it,
Yeah.
Senator. Yep.
I didn't like it, when I took it all the way down towards my throat, it felt a bit harsh.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I want to give it some time before I make an opinion.
You're taking it all the way down.
You set yourself up for that, Pagoda.
Just hitting the back of your throat.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, like that.
So I'm finding it like it's almost like it's I don't know how to describe it, for the listener who may not be smoking with us, but to me it's almost like you're sitting at a restaurant, instead of like being able to taste the food, like the chef is in the other room yelling at you, like this is what you're going to be eating.
There's no
Like, there's
distinct,
just-
no distinct note on this thing yet.
Yeah.
You know what this is reminding me of?
Oh,
Oh,
So-
here we go.
Per Gizmo's recommendation, I just ordered for the first time Eat Clean Bro.
Oh,
did you?
This reminds me of Eat Clean Bro, my experience so far.
You did that?
There's very little flavor in half these things I've been getting.
That's true.
Yeah, because it's not loaded with shit.
Yeah, you can.
You don't have
You
to.
don't
You
have
don't
to put
have-
shit to have flavor.
That's true.
You know how many just
little garlic-
herbs have
garlic and
natural
herbs.
flavor that is
Right.
not adding sodium, is not adding fat. it's not
I'll be
adding anything.
honest, I actually like the simplicity of the flavor of those meals. I really
Yeah.
enjoy them.
Yeah.
I do.
As long as they're
They work for me.
filling,
Yeah.
that's really for us.
You know what? Sometimes I put on some
For
of
us
it,
that
though?
are overweight.
Gotta have flavor.
To your
Okay.
point, Senator,
Senator's not overweight. I don't know why he's doing this, but okay.
something that I
Well,
put
he
on.
always-
I'll tell you why.
He
So
always
this is
eats
the thing.
clean.
That's the thing. I usually like my usual diet is like lean protein, tons of vegetables, a
Mm.
lot of salad.
Yeah.
But having a baby, it's harder for me
To
to have
cook.
time to prepare that for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just having that delivered now helps me try to get back to what I normally
I
eat.
like
Oh,
putting a little,
nice.
just a dab of balsamic glaze on the salmon or chicken. Just a
Anything
little
would
bit.
help.
Yeah, just a little bit. Doesn't add much.
Are you still doing that, Giz?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Cool.
Got off it around the holidays and stuff because
Yeah.
Laura was cooking so much. But.
Sure. Her famous marinara
Mm.
that we've yet to try.
Rooster
Oh,
tried it.
I have. Yeah, it's good. Great.
What the hell?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Rooster vetoed Bam being able to
I'm
try
sure it
anything
is.
after
Yeah,
his
cut 'em out.
bolognese.
Cut them out.
Because she normally puts like either pancetta or some kind of
Yeah,
meat in it, so
pepperoni
she
or
made
sh-
some
yeah.
like a batch just
Yeah, with no
without the
meat.
meat.
She puts that in the marinara?
Yeah, pepperoni and let me tell you something.
I've never heard of that, but by the way.
pepperoni
Dude,
in the
it's
red
always good.
sauce is incredible. It softens the
Look.
it like
It's the fat.
You
The-
terminated
put the-
my bolognese. Let me talk to him about the marinara.
I hope it helps. All right, tell him.
Okay? Tell him.
she it's mind blowing actually. The first time that I had it with her, sometimes she'll throw like a half a stick of pepperoni in there, and the pepperoni takes all the harshness out of it. Gets so sweet. It adds a little bit of a spice.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. Highly recommend using pepperoni as your
I've never had it that way.
your companion with your
I've never
red
heard
sauce.
of pepperoni, but I've heard of like pancetta.
Pancetta? I
as, because you render the fat that comes out of the pancetta. It's
Into the-
acts like butter and
There's a lot of
or
fat in
bacon.
pepperoni too.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
You guys are talking my language. Mm.
All right, get back to eat
Okay.
clean, bro.
I like it. I like it.
No. Look, the portions are good. The quality seems to be good enough. I just it's the simpler dishes, like the ones they have, like where it's just chicken,
Basic,
salmon,
yeah.
like a vegetable, rice. I mean, just some spice on any of these things would help, like garlic with the
Yeah.
broccoli or something like that.
Some herb.
But the dishes that are designed to have more flavor, those are pretty good. So
Why don't you
it's
send them a
off
letter?
to off to a decent
Put
start.
a letter in
Nice.
the mail.
You know what they need to do?
Dear,
They need to do
dear
what
Eat Clean Bro.
no. They need to do what Wonder does.
Well, Wonder doesn't do much anymore.
Oh, let's not disparage our beloved
Wonder's shut
Wonder.
down, man.
Wonder, after you have a meal, immediately sends you a survey.
Yeah.
They give you a $5 credit off your next meal if you complete the full survey. And they ask really smart questions, like really thoughtful, trying to understand how to improve the flavor of everything. If I got one of those from Eat Clean Bro, I'd happily give you
That's
some
cool.
feedback.
That's cool.
Because Eat Clean Bro has been out for a while. Wonder is
Yeah.
new, so
Yeah.
they need that feedback.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe they did that before.
And
I should continue to do that.
I just think the more simple dishes, like if you order something that sometimes my stepson loves some of the crazier meals they have.
Mm.
They'll talk about flavor like it's too much for me.
Okay.
They're like it's the other end of the scale. So I just think some of the more basic ones, they keep it easy.
Well, regarding flavor, this cognac is helping this.
Yeah, let's talk about the cognac because the cigar's not doing much for me yet. So, Senator, you were very excited about this, as you were
was.
the cigar.
Rightfully
brought that
so,
for us.
I will say.
Tell us about it.
So hold on, Senator, have you had this before?
No, I haven't. So I've been wanting to try this for a while.
So this is Hine
That's right.
Rare, the original cognac fine champagne.
So Hine has a bit of a cool story because a lot of the cognacs we've done have been really French in origin, as you would expect, the cognac region being in France. But Hine is one of those few that actually kind of the origin story, despite it being made in France, is English.
Hmm.
So the history of Hine goes back to the late 18th century, and this guy, Thomas Hine, left England for France to visit the Cognac region. This guy was fascinated by cognac. The problem with his timing was this was as the Revolutionary War began, the French Revolution, and Brits were basically not welcome in France during all this. And so Thomas Hine was imprisoned.
Oh,
And ironically, I couldn't believe when I read this, but in 1793, he was briefly imprisoned alongside Mr. Hennessy, who founded Hennessy
what?
Cognac.
Wow.
Both of these guys really aggressively wanting to pursue developing cognac in France, but at a time where they were not welcome. So they had a brief stint in prison together.
They became bunkmates.
Wow. They became bunkmates. And after someone intervened, they were freed. So this guy, Thomas Hine, marries this woman whose father is actually the creator or founder of Hine Cognac. He owns the land, all of this. This guy marries in, but he's like the cognac geek that wants to really make something of this.
Just a grape fanatic.
Oh, yeah. So
Love it.
this guy just completely takes over the operation. He eventually renames it after himself, Thomas Hine,
Nice.
because the original guy's name is not Hine, actually. It's really crazy how all this comes to be. And the thing I was fascinated with Thomas Hine, and I guess this has carried on all the people after him that have been responsible for making this stuff, is his fascination with wine and applying kind of the process and approach that's taken to producing wine to cognac, in the sense that this is one of the few cognacs that entirely comes from a single grape variety. Usually they'll have a few that they kind of blend together. This is, I think, I know this is, and I think even almost everything they make is all this Uni Blanc grape that they use to make this. So just a cool story. And this is really beloved in the UK. There's kind of like a royal accord that was awarded for Hine, just like we've talked about with some of the champagnes that,
Cool.
again, made in France, but have really become so beloved in the UK, like Paul Rocher and Bollinger. So I've just always really wanted to try this. The bottle is beautiful.
It is
It is.
Um,
It's a very nice bottle.
gorgeous.
It's a
actually.
heavy bottle. I mean, it literally
is.
looks like a decanter that you
Yeah.
would put on
That's
your
what
bar.
it does look
Yeah.
like a decanter.
Worth keeping, I
Yeah.
think.
I also love I don't know why it reminds. Obviously, it reminds me of Dalmore because of the deer, but I like their logo,
Yeah.
which is the
It's eye-catching.
the
Bold letters.
the deer sitting down with
Mhm.
antlers.
And their cognac has gotten a number of awards. I mean, I think I've mentioned that. Actually, I'm not sure how much we've talked about this, but from a wine perspective, I hate like the reviews from Robert Parker and James Suckling. I mean, I'm not a huge. I tend to disagree a lot of the time with a lot of their wine recommendations, but I think Wine Spectator more times than not gets it right, and I think Wine Enthusiast to a lesser extent, but still pretty good, gets it right. And I saw their VSOP. I think Wine Enthusiast gave a 92 or a 93, which for them is pretty good praise. And I know they've won a number of medals in international competitions. So I've always wanted to try this. And I will say, first sip,
It's really good.
very pleased.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we're kind of accidentally doing, or not on purpose doing, like a battle of the cognacs. Like
Mhm.
we've kind of
Dive
hit.
deep.
We've kind of gone deep on cognac. I
Yeah.
know for me, I've really enjoyed. I think I mentioned it several times since we did the Remy 1738. I've been drinking a lot of it,
For
You
me,
know.
it's eye-opening because I
Yeah.
was never a cognac guy.
and I
Ever.
think it is. I would say this is a definitive statement that you guys are so resistant to be saying. I think cognac is one of the best spirits to pair with cigars. I've definitely learned that.
Amen.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to sit at home and just sip cognac for the hell of it. I'd probably reach for something that has a little bit more oomph to it.
Yeah.
But cognac with a cigar is just, it's
Yeah.
working.
It's
It's
special.
definitely helping this cigar. For
It,
sure.
it is. It really is, Pagoda.
I mean, I just want to know the
That's
reason
true.
I'm immediately impressed with this brand. This is a VSOP. which is kind of middle of the line, right? There's VS, VSOP, XO.
Mm-hmm.
Most VSOPs that I've drank, and I think we've even tried, a little bit of ice helps. Like we had Remy VSOP. You can drink that neat, but I prefer Remy VSOP with just a chip or two of ice.
With a chip or two of ice, it's
perfect.
It's heavenly.
It is. But what I give this, it's really remarkable. Every one of us is drinking this neat.
I don't want an ice cube.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't want an ice cube.
Yeah, it's so smooth.
It is
extremely drinkable.
And it's different in style. I think you'll probably immediately notice by the taste, like it's lighter than certainly Remy 1738 we love so much. And obviously a lot of the XOs, which benefit from age, that produce that richness. But it's a lighter, more fruit forward, kind of going to the wine conversation.
Yep, very accurate.
Just
which
a
I think, by the way,
different
to
style.
Pagoda's point, is really helping the cigar.
It is.
Because without it, the trajectory of the cigar for me without this cognac is going to be very different.
Where's Pooba?
So I have a couple questions for you. So did you say, is this the VS, the VSOP, XO of this?
VSOP.
This is the VSOP.
Which means that everything in here is minimum 4 years aged.
Got it.
Okay.
Interesting.
And it's the flavors just fill your whole mouth up. Like, it's not like concentrated in one part. I think, and it's got a long finish. I agree with you, Bam. There.
Yeah.
So what is
so the finish on this is very long. Enjoyable.
Very
Bam,
enjoyable.
what's the price point on this?
I paid under $53, just under $53 for this.
Wow.
Now, I will tell you, this was the very last bottle in a massive cognac department here. So it says something. I think people like this.
It's a very accessible price.
And I went to 2 other places and they didn't have it. They ran out.
Wow.
So,
I
think it's pursued.
They do, and it's really perfectly priced in the sense that most VSOPs are right around $50.
Yeah.
Remy VSOP, Courvoisier, Martel, any of them, usually 50 something on the low 50s. So I think for a brand that, the way this drinks, this is a premium spirit.
Absolutely.
To me, the definition of a premium spirit is almost any spirit that sips really well neat.
It actually, I think, punches above its pay grade. It drinks like an expensive spirit, and the bottle looks very expensive.
I would think that this. I would not have been surprised if you said this was $85.
Yeah,
I agree.
Look at how it presents. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now back to the cigar. On the retrohale now, for me, it's actually quite good. On the retro. On the typical draw, not that great, but you've got to do a retro to get something there.
There's a weirdness that I'm getting as, at the end of the draw, or as it's sitting in my mouth and I'm pushing it back out, that I'm just really not enjoying.
Really?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying it.
I'm not hating it.
Here's my take. I'm starting to get
There's something coming in.
more of the chocolate notes are kind of getting a little more accentuated, and there's a little saltiness to this now, which I like. But the funny thing, as I'm smoking this, I'm just thinking, like, who would this be for? Because it doesn't perfectly fit my palate. This, to me, is a really good cigar for a person who wants
a cigar.
someone who wants
Well played.
like a cigar with more flavor, with a darker wrapper, but is used to smoking mild cigars, and so needs that delivered in like the lightest, subtlest way possible.
This could be a gateway for someone like that wanting to elevate into a more robust cigar.
It's like a starter in that category.
It's like before you get into a Padron,
Yeah,
you could try this.
I think that's accurate.
You guys had the Padron, the Damaso?
Yeah.
No.
Have you had it?
The mild,
No.
yeah. It's good.
Is it
We should
similar?
review it.
No, it's not even
No.
close. That's a Connecticut wrap Padron. It's mild, but it delivers the performance and quality of the 64 and the 26 line.
Yeah, but you can't complain about the quality of the cigar.
Here's what I'm saying.
The draw, the construction is very
Right
good.
now, like, I'm concerned that I'm still going to be tasting this cigar in the morning. Like,
What?
I don't know. It's something. There's something with the
If you're
mouthfeel or the taste
That's a long finish.
that is not.
That's a really long.
When you have a cigar that's not great and it kind of lingers. Like, you always hear guys complaining, when I smoke a cigar, I taste it the next morning.
For me, my problem's the opposite in that it's so fleeting. Like nothing on this lingers for me.
No, not at all.
It's just a weird.
I'm
mouth.
worried in 30 seconds I'm not going to taste this cigar.
It's got like a soapy. I don't know what it is. There's just a mouthfeel thing that I'm not enjoying.
It could be a little minerally, that thing that you're getting, maybe, but I'm not getting any of that. I kind of think it's a little creamy, a little bit, but the retro, it's actually not that bad.
Listen, not that I have any refined taste or anything, but
Sure you do.
But I can tell you this: I was trying to. I thought it was very like the smoke, at least in the beginning, was somewhat anisey. I couldn't figure out what it was, but there was some weird. I can't pinpoint it.
I feel like mine fell in like a bucket of Tide Pods, and I'm like
He's saying a little
smoking like
anisette.
No,
detergent
no.
or something.
You know, burnt sonf. You know the sonf. You know when it's cooked up.
I have no fucking idea.
Oh my lord, that's it. You know you just had sonf the other day, which is aniseeds. Oh man,
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I love when Rooster shanks Pagoda.
Oh yeah.
Listen, today Bam Bam shanked me, Rooster shank. I think that's it. This is.
I didn't shank you.
I don't know. To me, like, I don't know if it's the cognac, but I'm getting some of these sweet notes. To me, this is like a diet dessert.
Yeah,
I
it's
do
like a
get
low
some-
calorie
Yeah.
kind of it's a low calorie cigar.
That's true. Like, I'm not even joking. That's what
true.
it reminds me of.
Very
It's just-
mild cocoa.
Yeah.
Mild.
Yeah. The flavors are mild.
Yeah.
And it
I'm
kinda-
finding it to be not pleasurable at all.
Wow.
I agree.
It's
with you.
burning great. It's smoking great. The
Mhm.
draw is great. The combustion is great. My ash looks great, and the
Regard.
flavor is just not good.
Okay.
The problem is you had an 04 Unico. You had a Sir Winston 2014 the day before.
Oh, wow.
So you're like kind of like maybe
You're spoiled.
No, I'm not. No,
You're
no,
spoiled.
come
like
on.
there.
Yeah.
You know.
Gizmo, just put
Come down a
your
little bit.
pinky out as you're smoking that.
That is not true.
Can someone turn off Gizmo's mic, please? Oh, I forgot. He controls the mics.
I mean, he's tasting Tide Pods out of this.
Yeah, I'm
Tide.
just surprised
I'm
to
not
hear you
getting
say that. There's truly nothing offensive to me
Nah.
about the flavor.
Listen, maybe it's
just
my
so
maybe it's
I
my
agree. I
cigar.
agree.
Maybe it's my cigar. I mean, we're talking $7 cigars. Who the hell
It's the
knows?
same box.
These are very consistently made. You can tell.
Were you doing
Listen.
laundry before you got here? You have Tide all over your hands, or what's
Yeah.
going on?
We'll see how it develops. I'm going to keep the faith as I always do. I don't put stuff down.
Yeah.
We're
It,
going to.
it does taste a little young.
Oh, it's definitely young. There's no
Yeah.
question about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Like I think with time,
What
I
does
think-
young taste like?
But here's a question.
I think this is going to
Yeah.
balance out really
Tell
well.
you later.
Here's a question.
Blow through it.
Quick question for you guys.
Yeah.
This
Quick.
was ranked on the CA Top 25, correct?
Yeah, it's number 14.
That's
Really?
very, very
Number 14.
high praise for
Wow.
this cigar.
Which is frustrating to me because
High
I want to
praise.
smack the guys at Cigar Aficionado who put this over almost any other cigar we smoke on the podcast. How is that possible that this is the number
think
14 cigar of the
so-
year?
I could tell you, someone got a big payday.
Yeah, somebody put a nice big ad in this
Well,
magazine, but
There was a Rocky that was the number 2 cigar.
yeah,
so-
well, we'll go through that.
That I agree.
I want to go through the full list.
Let's do that.
But yeah, I'm having a little bit of different experience than you guys are. Maybe Pagoda's a little closer aligned with me, but we shall see.
Yeah.
The only thing I would also say, smoke it slow.
I am. I don't feel like I'm blowing
Because
through
it's
it.
not densely packed, so
No.
like the air is really moving through it.
Do you guys? I mean,
I'm ahead of you. It's easy to go through, Senator, to your point.
yeah, I don't feel like I'm smoking it fast at all.
No, you're not.
I'm like an inch and a quarter in, maybe.
I think Pagoda and I are pretty far along.
All right, so we usually talk. Well, usually we did it last year. We talked about the Cigar Aficionado Top 25, as Grinder said. Bam's malfeasance delayed that a couple weeks.
I don't remember that.
With his the saga of his tower. So here we are on Valentine's Day. By the way, happy Valentine's Day, boys.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about. Let's go through the top 25 here
And to all the lizard wives out there.
of the cigars of 2022 from Cigar Aficionado. So we'll go in reverse order. Curious, have you guys seen the list? Has everybody looked
No.
at it?
A
No?
little bit.
All right, good. I'm curious what everybody thinks. So number 25 this year was the Plasencia Reserva Original Corona.
Wow, that low? I'm kidding.
Damn you, Grinder.
Can I just say something about Plasencia? Every cigar club I go to, Plasencia is a huge seller. They've rebranded. They have a whole line of Vitolas, and actually the banding is beautiful. So people are going to those cigars. I'm not surprised it's on a list.
I mean, in its defense,
Yeah,
we've only tried
it's true.
the Alma Fuerte. we
I
really
love that you can't say it unless you say it like that.
we really ought to try something else that they make.
So there's one that I had. It's got an octagonal shape. It was
Oh,
that is the one.
boy,
I
here we
think
go.
that's
That is
fantastic,
the
by
one.
the way.
Strap in.
What is that called?
I don't know. I don't
This is
remember.
Pagoda's favorite cigar.
It was okay. It was okay.
You realize
Isn't
this
that
is
the
the
one
cigar.
we had on my deck late night?
No.
No. That's
We had
that
a
really
Alma
long-
Fuerte long, like
That thing was-
Salomon looking.
This is a brick
cigar.
house.
That was pornographic, that cigar.
But this octagonal one, you remember the story I told, right? When Grinders used to, obviously Grinder at one point liked that Alma Fuerte, and Pagoda tells this story about how someone gave him this octagonal shaped cigar that was a Plasencia, and that was the worst cigar he's ever had. in
Is
his
that
life.
right?
Yeah, my mouth was all warped. I couldn't even get it.
Okay.
That was the first time that I realized that the Pagoda name was perfect. Was that night?
It's true.
It was that night because he was on a
and Grinder
mad
was
tear,
there.
and Grinder was sitting there. Just it was
But
shank
I didn't
after
know.
shank.
Every time he made the point that he hated that cigar, he said, "And Grinder, let me tell you, it was the worst cigar I've
me
ever
tell you.
had."
So yeah, the Plasencia Reserva Original Corona, all Nicaraguan. I would have thought otherwise. Got a 92 rating this year. Number 24 was the Dominican from General Cigar, La Gloria Cubana Classic Glorious, which is a 43 ring gauge by 5.5-inch cigar.
I will tell you, I like the series, the R series.
Is that good? I've seen a lot of guys like that.
I when I first started smoking cigars, I went toward that line. I liked it.
I'll
did
just
like
say
it.
it is literally chocolate.
It is.
Like,
Really?
if I handed you a chocolate bar,
Yeah.
that's what it would taste like.
Honestly,
I think Grinder gave me the first one I ever had of that. I bought a few from a tobacco shop that was nearby. I gave one to Rooster one time at my place. Do you remember this?
No.
Oh, Jesus. No, I'm positive because I needed validation that this thing just tastes like straight chocolate.
did you like it?
And Rooster smoked it, said the exact same thing. It's just 100% chocolate.
It's the series R number 5. I kind of like that. I haven't had it in many, many years. I think pod worthy. My opinion.
It's a budget stick. We should try it at some
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Yeah, they said. I mean, they're listing it as $7.30. I mean, I'm
That
sure
one?
we can get it really cheap.
Getting a little tired of budget sticks.
Yeah, because that's what you're smoking all the time. Yeah.
It's inflation, man. It's inflation.
Coming from the connoisseur corner.
Yeah.
Next.
So this is one I've never heard of. Number 23 is the Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Habano Corona Gorda R, which again, I like this ring gauge, 46 ring gauge by 5 5/8 inches.
Has anyone had an Espinosa cigar? I'm
Never
not
even
familiar with it.
Never heard of it.
So
I like the knuckle sandwich.
Yeah.
So the reason why apparently, so this is another AJ Fernandez cigar. I guess it had something to do with Guy Fieri, the chef,
Oh, Jesus.
Oh boy.
who's
out.
closely
Hard pass.
Yep.
who's closely
Yeah.
involved with the brand. And as Cigar Aficionado says, you can't mention one without mentioning the other.
Is there hair gel on the wrapper?
Hey,
what
it's
they-
chef's edition. What are you saying?
That's a chef's edition. That's an $11.50 stick. Another 92 rating. Oh my God. All right, let's move on. Number 22, the Tatuaje Capa Especial Cojete, which is a short Robusto, 40 ring gauge by 4-inch cigar.
Rooster, have you had that?
Yeah.
Really?
Is that pretty good or what?
Fantastic.
Really?
We got it. We have
Wow.
had some listener emails asking why we haven't done more Tatuaje
We
on the
should
pod.
do more tattoo eyes.
Yeah, we should do some more.
No shit.
Because people, let me tell you, man, people
Oh,
love
they love that.
those cigars.
The whole line they love.
They love them.
It's fallen out of favor with me, but I don't know.
It's funny you say that, though. I mean, we're talking about a lot of brands that people like to smoke. Like Bam mentioned, obviously, Plasencia, really, there's a lot of demand and a lot of retailers for it.
Yeah.
But the intensity among Tatuaje fans, I
Yeah.
feel like, is almost unmatched.
It's like a cult. It's
The
like
guys
a
that
cult.
love that stick, they talk with such passion about Tatuaje cigars.
But you know what, though? The thing that I like about the Tatuaje fan base, I like Pete Johnson. I like his story. I like
Yeah,
his
he's cool.
passion for it. There's like other cigar clubs, and there's other things that people get passionate about that I think is a little bit, I don't know. It kind of gives me like the creeps a little bit. But Tatuaje is one that like I appreciate the cult following that he's kind of developed. And I think some of the cigars that I've had are really good from him.
They don't make their own cigar, do they?
No, they made it My Father.
My father
My
makes
father
it
makes
for them.
Yeah, I believe so. They
Yeah.
made it the My Father factory. Yeah.
Interesting.
Pepin
Don Pepin.
Garcia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don, yeah.
I want to tell you. So I just read off 4 of these cigars, and I hadn't hit the New World Dorado. I think that this cigar has taken a little bit of a turn for the better.
Yeah,
So maybe I just had a half inch or
could be.
like a rough patch, whatever was going on
What are
there.
you getting now?
It's definitely moving more to like chocolatey, sweeter,
Mm-hmm.
more of what I would expect from a Nicaraguan, primarily Nicaraguan cigar.
You know what I've found? You have to take a lot of smoke in to capture notes here. You can't lightly draw on this thing.
But this is definitely better than it was 10 minutes ago for me.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just maybe it had a half inch of just dud space.
Yeah.
It happens. All right, so number 21, another cigar that I wasn't familiar with until some of the guys at the lounge, I believe, gave one to Senator, the Alegria Robusto, a 52 ring gauge by 5-inch cigar made by Aganorsa Leaf.
We're looking right at Senator on this one.
Yeah.
So I was sitting at the lounge, and it was a cool thing. I'm sure a lot of listeners probably do this with their friends, and if they don't, I recommend it because we're kind of bad about doing this, and we should do this every holiday. It was really fun for me. I'm sitting at our clubhouse one night, and a bunch of guys come in, mostly members, but they brought some guests and friends, and they were there, just an annual holiday gathering they have where everyone shows up with a different box of cigars that they want their friends, the group, to try.
That's cool.
And they hand out a stick to each person. So you leave with 20 sticks. There must have been 20 of these guys there.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And they were very generous. I was sitting there and just chatting with them. And so a number of guys were just coming up to me, want you to try this, want you to try this. And one of them was that cigar. I did smoke it. I will not say it was my favorite cigar. It's an afternoon smoke. It's not something.
Was it like light?
It's medium at best.
How's the quality?
Is it Dominican or
the construction? It was a Petit
It's
Corona.
a Nicaraguan Puro.
The size, it was a smaller ring gauge, a Petit Corona.
Usually you get flavor in that Vitola.
Yeah, the flavor, it was not traditional notes that I pursue. I do remember a pretty decent amount of spice, but not aggressive, just kind of mild spice, a lot of cedar. It just didn't do much for me, but I can see why someone who likes that profile doesn't want something full flavor, why that may appeal.
So this specific, the Vitola that they smoked, it was the 5x52. They're calling it medium full here in Cigar Aficionado. And I actually like some of the notes that they called out here. So maybe it was a different blend or just a different size, but they're saying almond, tangy wood, licorice, or orange peel, salted pecan, and then a strong finish of espresso and sambuca.
Oh, my Lord, Bam's all over it.
So
yeah, that's very ambitious.
Those notes are pretty interesting.
That's an ambitious.
And the
list.
other thing that makes me want to lean into trying this, aside from the endorsement from our friends here at the lounge, is that it's made by Alucion. And that Cruzado Robusto we did, I love that cigar.
It was good.
So the one they reviewed is a larger ring gauge.
Yeah, it's effectively pretty close to this. It's
the one I had. It was a Petit Corona, very small ring gauge. So we should try it maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely put that on the list. I think.
Nice.
Yeah, you're probably getting more of the wrapper.
Yeah.
Another one that we're not familiar with came in at number 20, the Casa Magna Colorado Robusto.
Heard of that?
You have? I have not heard of it. Made by Quesada Cigars, another Robusto 52 ring gauge
Manuel
by 5.5. What was that?
Manuel Quesada, right?
Got it. I'm not sure.
I've had a few Quesada cigars years ago because I think Nat Sherman, they used to partner up with them for their cigars, if I remember clearly. There was some kind of a relationship. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
So
the reason why you may have heard of it, Rooster, is it was the cigar of the year in 2008.
Maybe.
Yeah,
the Casa Magna.
Yeah.
Rooster does study the top 25 every year.
He does. He buys them all.
Just the top 5.
And that's a Nicaraguan Puro, that cigar. Okay, so let's move on.
It's got a nice band, right? Like a colorful band.
It doesn't
From
look
what I
as
remember.
ornate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just, that's what it looks like there. So, okay, so let's go to number 19. The My Father Cigars owns the San Cristobal name, I guess. Ex-Cuba, outside of Cuba. The San Cristobal Clásico. Again, another Robusto 5-inch by 50 ring gauge. So far, Nicaragua's dominating this. This is a Nicaraguan filler binder and an Ecuadorian wrapper.
That's a popular cigar.
Owned by Ashton. Made by my father. Number 18, boys, the Brick House Churchill.
Yeah.
No way.
That's
Yeah,
mild.
You're
It's a mild-
joking, right?
It's a
that's
medium
a
cigar.
really
They're calling
mild
it
stick.
50 ring gauge by 7 1/4.
That's like smoking rolled up newspaper. I'm sorry. That is an awful, awful cigar.
I know.
It's mild. It doesn't
Very
even.
mild.
It's not a cigar. I don't know what it is.
It's like the Las Calaveras.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 18.
Number 18 of the year, boys.
All right. This is bordering criminal.
So that's a JC Newman cigar. We haven't done any JC Newman. We should probably do one of those. I had a couple emails.
That is just that's a cigar you get in a restaurant when you're dying to puff on something, regardless of what it is. Holy cow.
It's a really mild stick.
Yeah.
So number 17 is our first Cuban on the list. And I'm interested to hear what you guys think of this one.
Cohiba number 5.
The Cohiba 55 Aniversario Edición Limitada 2021. If you remember, that was the one that Cigar Aficionado unboxed, and one of the bands was different than the other. We all thought it was fake.
Uh-oh.
$320 cigar.
Have you had that,
No.
Rooster?
Many.
No.
You've had it.
It just came
Every
out.
day.
It just came out pretty
We
recently.
will soon.
Oh, yeah? On Gizmo's dime.
Yeah, right. So the thing I don't like about it, and I like talking about the dimensions because this is a reason why. 57 ring gauge
Oh, forget about
by
it.
5 7/8 inches. It's like
Unenjoyable.
that's like, what is that? A Gordo Extra? I mean, I don't understand the trend.
It's a double
Double.
Toro like Bam Lands.
It's
yeah.
a double Gordo.
It's a double Toro.
That's a callback to the first episode we ever did, folks.
double Toro.
First ever. Yeah, that's just a big ass cigar. man.
$320 for a cigar.
No,
Can you
thank
imagine that?
No, thank you.
Talk about criminal. That's
Yeah,
criminal.
that is
I mean,
criminal.
is
Big
that the
time.
price in Cuba?
The price
Is
in
that-
Cuba
is that the
aligns with everywhere.
MSRP?
Yeah, that's where it aligns with everything. Yeah, but you're not going to find that on a shelf in Cuba because as soon as they make them, they ship them right out.
So is that the most expensive Cohiba?
I would think so
Per
right
stick?
now, but I
No,
got to
the
imagine that
Grand Reservas.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
beat it.
the
It beats a Bahique for sure.
Reserve-
Grand
Reservas.
Reservas are more.
yeah,
Wow.
the Bahiques are crawling up there though. I mean, I think a Bahique 56 is probably close to 250.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's still got $100 to go.
I know.
It's crazy. Ship them without age and everything. All right, number 16, another Cuban, the Romeo y Julieta. We saw a lot of these in Cuba, Bam.
Yeah.
The Romeo y Julieta Linea de Oro Nobles. So those are the
yeah.
ones that come in the nice red boxes.
Yeah.
I would say out of any cigar, when we were in Cuba, that was the one I saw the most boxes of.
Rooster
yeah,
got a box
there's,
of
there's
those.
3 sizes.
Yeah,
right?
3 sizes.
So
yeah.
almost every destination we visited, we saw that box.
And they were
Right.
piles of them. Nobody was buying them.
Really.
for a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Do you remember the price on those?
I'm seeing them at $50 a stick.
Box of 10.
Yeah, so about $500, probably a little more.
You know what turns me off? I go back to a senator's experience with his Churchill at dinner one night.
Which Churchill?
The Romeo.
Romeo Churchill.
Oh yeah, fuck
Dude.
that cigar.
That has kind of tainted my view of what Romeos are.
Yeah,
Really?
so that Churchill.
It's
if
an
you-
uninteresting.
if you
It's an
have-
interesting marca. I'm
if you-
sorry.
If you can get your hands on the vintage Churchill, which
Maybe.
has the old band,
Mm.
that's a fantastic cigar.
Let me
Is
tell you
that right?
something. Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. You won't catch me dead with that cigar.
The old one?
No, I'm not
Old?
touching Romeo. Romeo's dead to
Well,
me.
you
Yeah,
have
I
the new
won't buy
ones. You
another.
have the new ones.
Romeo's dead to me.
But
No,
hang
I
on,
had
hang
a
on.
2013.
Now, hold on. The Romeo you just mentioned, Rooster bought a box. Did you ever try one of those? The one that he just said was
No,
in the
he
top
sold it.
25.
The Linea de
Oh,
Oro.
no,
you
no,
sold
I
that.
sold
remember
it.
you had
Yeah,
one of those
yeah,
red
he sold
boxes.
sold that.
I
yeah.
see.
So the one that they named number 16 here, they gave it a 93 rating. It was a 56 ring gauge by 5 3/8. So again, the two of the Cubans that made it in the list so far
Hmm.
are over 55 ring gauge,
Unbelievable.
which is crazy. So these are made to, these are Habanos trending toward producing high dollar, low box, low count in the box.
Yep.
So you're getting 10 in a box, high price. They're just really that's
And
where they're moving.
larger ring gauges.
And that's where they're moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to wonder if that's the Asian market's driving that.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so number 15, the La Palina Goldie Ligito number 2, which is a 38 ring gauge, which it's a small ring gauge by 6 inches. $23 cigar made in the USA
What?
of Dominican Republic and Nicaraguan filler and Ecuadorian binder and wrapper.
And Patterson, New Jersey filler.
So this is actually made in Miami's Little Havana.
Ah, okay.
I mean, that's cool to see.
It is cool. I like, when you hear Ligito number 2, obviously it has a pigtail on it, just like the Ligito number 1, which is the
nice.
Cola, the Cohiba Lancero.
What's the strength profile? Mild to medium, medium to
medium full. They're calling it. So it's made by El Titan de Bronze. I've never heard of that cigar.
It's a boutique cigar.
Yeah,
sounds like it.
The La Polina.
So apparently, according to La Polina, we've talked about Medio Tiempo, which is the coveted top, the top 2 leaves of the plant, which is what Bahique is kind of famous for, is the Medio Tiempo. There's arguments now if Bahique even has that anymore because it's so hard to harvest, but apparently amounts to a peppery, nutty smoke, they say, finely detailed with oak, chocolate, and a walnut finish. I would love to try that cigar and see if I find a single one of those notes in it. But I'm a naysayer, boys.
Very negative today, Gizmo.
Number 14 is the cigar we're smoking. We'll pause here. The New World Dorado Robusto, again, 52 ring gauge by 5.5. I'm coming up on about halfway. I know I've been talking a lot more than you guys have. What are you guys thinking about the cigar right now?
For me, it hasn't changed. It was okay, and it's still okay.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, there's nothing that's offensive that's jumping out at me right now, but it's still the same.
Yep.
It's picked up slightly.
Yeah.
I mean, to Bam's point, I don't know if maybe when you said you kind of got to draw a lot more to get the flavor out of this cigar.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little bit more, but I still want more out of this stick.
Yeah.
Mine has improved significantly.
Sure.
That's good.
Had it stayed where it was, I would have been a 4. This has really improved significantly. I'm still finding the flavor to be muted and not really defined, but it's much more pleasurable.
I get a bit of like a nutty flavor too, like some kind of nut. I don't know if it's walnut or.
I'm getting like a chocolatey thing too now.
Yeah.
Yeah, cocoa still.
I'm not getting any of the salt
Very
you
light,
mentioned.
though.
It was early.
Oh,
I'm not getting
yeah.
as much now.
Okay.
Now it's like picked up in sweetness.
True.
So this cigar got a 93 rating.
I guess they have the numbers reversed.
How are they judging these? I mean, how do they come up with these ratings?
Well,
Do we know?
the number 25 was a 92, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they start on the bottom at 92.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So number 13, boys, is the Joya de Nicaragua Antaño
Oh,
1970 Churchill, which is a 48 ring gauge by 6 7/8 inches cigar, Nicaraguan Puro. We did this cigar in the podcast, didn't we?
We
Not
did.
the
Yeah,
Churchill.
in a large ring gauge.
Yeah, and
which
it
was the
plummeted.
problem.
It was
Maybe 5 or 6.
It was a
six.
Bellicoso, and it got a 5.0.
It was tough.
Yeah, all the guys in this room gave it either a 6 or a 5. Yeah, not very good.
No.
All right, moving on. Number 12 was the La Flor Dominicana Oro Chisel,
Oh boy.
54 ring gauge by 6 inches.
So I've had that, and I know you have, Rooster. The Chisel, that is probably one of the strongest cigars you'll smoke.
Really?
Oh yeah, I kind of liked it. I can't say I hated it.
Is this the patented one?
The shit.
No, that's double Ligero.
Yeah.
Oh, I
The
don't know.
double Ligero
Oh, that's.
chisel.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
That's LFD.
I take it back. That's the one. That's probably the strong. It's a different cigar.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's this story? The patented one.
So they
design.
patented the shape of that cigar, the Chisel. LFD literally has a patent where they advertise a Cigar Aficionado that the only cigar that ever had got a patent approved was for the shape of the Chisel cigar
You know
from La Flor Dominicana.
What does it look like?
It was-
Picture the end of the cigar if you pinched it all the way down, so it was like touching both.
You know
kinda
what it's like? It's like the plastic attachment that you can put
Right.
at the end of it.
Yeah.
That comes down to a tiny rectangle profile. They've rolled it somehow, pressed
like a
it
like
to
a plastic
achieve that.
tip cigar.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds like a
these-
Philly blunt.
It is. Well, the shape,
Yeah.
So has anybody
a
had it?
Powerful smoke.
not
you-
that one.
I've had it. In
The
fact,
We're talking the LFD Chisel, not the one that was rated
Not the double.
No,
Cigar
the-
Aficionado.
no, I haven't had the chisel.
There's two different. So you
I've
mentioned
This
had
is
double
it,
Ligero,
the La Flor Dominicana Oro Chisel. That's
but not
it.
double Ligero.
Oh, I
I've
don't
had the
know.
double Ligero.
Me
The
too.
Oro comes in gold tubes, right? Is that the one?
It doesn't say that it's in a tubo. I'm not seeing that, but yeah, it has like a gold ornate band on it with Oro.
We should review a LaFleur product.
Yeah, we haven't done one of those yet. All right, number 11, the EP Carrillo Pledge Apogee, which was a new size introduced in 2022, I think.
Pledge
Obviously-
apathy or apathy?
Well played, Bam. The Pledge Prequel obviously was the cigar of the year 2 years ago, which was its second #1 cigar in 2 years. This is a new size. It's 58 ring gauge by 6 1/4, which that's a big cigar, man. We've talked about this 1,000 times on this podcast.
They're just
I
getting
don't
bigger.
get the trend
They're getting bigger on that list.
as they go down.
What the heck?
Yeah. So, just amazing. They're going to be at 60 ring gauge soon. Okay, we're now in the top 10. Top 10. Number 10, Arturo Fuente Rare Pink Vintage 1960 series. You ready for this one, boys? The Vitola is called the Sophisticated Hooker.
Yeah. I've heard of this cigar.
Well, it's pink.
Don't go there. No.
Bam knows this cigar well.
Okay, I've heard of this.
The rare pink hooker.
Oh my god!
I think he knows her really well.
The first sentence, by the way, the first sentence on the review is the name is certainly curious.
It is.
So this is obviously made by the Fuente family. I mean, that is a hell of a name, Sophisticated Hooker.
So there are a lot of guys that are looking for this cigar right now.
The Rare Pink,
yeah, that I know in our group in town where I live, and they want that cigar.
I mean, Sophisticated Hookers clearly are in demand.
Well,
so it's a.
I'm sorry. I would just love to understand the origin of a name
please,
like that.
That would be great.
And you know what's weird about it is this cigar line, the Rare Pink, I believe was designed as a breast cancer awareness.
Right.
You're right.
And also
That's true.
that they're donating some of the proceeds to breast cancer awareness.
Didn't you have one of these?
No.
I thought
I've never had a Rare Pink.
So many people are looking for the whole line of these pink cigars. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Because if you have it, I haven't had it.
Fuente,
I mean, it's a very...
I think maybe part of the money goes towards cancer research.
breast cancer research.
I know, which is especially why the name is really
offensive.
Dubious. I mean,
it's kind of weird. It's I don't understand it. All the boxes are pink. The labels are pink. I think he involved his daughter in all this. I'm not sure. I'd love to ask him sometime. But the dimension on this specific cigar. So I think really what this was, and you guys could tell me if I'm wrong. I think what this is I think these are variations of the Hemingway line. Yes. So I think like there's a Rare Pink short story. I think there's a Rare Pink signature. There's a Rare Pink.
There's a few of them. Yeah. And we should try one for our recording.
We should do one. We should. I don't know if I want to do the Sophisticated Hooker, not only because of its name, but it's also a 53 ring gauge by 7 1/4 inches. Wow, that's a big commitment cigar.
They do make a lot of cigars.
Yeah,
they do. A lot of different cigars.
It's crazy.
And I think too,
different lines.
And there's so much stuff. I think that the other thing too that about it, and I mean, just for marketing, I guess Carlito's a little bit of a genius, but literally he put the word rare in the name of the cigars. So Fuente folks thinking that
Rockies use that as well,
thinking that this is a rare, a rare find. People running out to buy it. Maybe that's part of the case too.
Maybe
it's Pagoda's cousin.
They gave this a 93 rating, number 10, in this year's top 25. All right, number 9, the Nicaraguan Romeo y Julieta Reserva Real Nicaragua Churchill, which is a 50 ring gauge cigar by 7 inches, which that's a big cigar. That's this at 7 inches, effectively. That's a big thing.
I think you've said it's a big cigar at least 20 times.
That's the whole point. I mean, we talk about this so many on the podcast. Like, why are there no Lonsdales? Why are there no Lanceros? There's not a lot of Coronas. I think there's one Corona so far. Yeah, and a lot of Robustos.
Those two Vitolas are just incredible. There should be more of those in the market.
So Altadis, obviously, this is their brand. The Nicaraguan Puro. Romeo is their best-selling premium cigar brand, as I'm sure we could have guessed. They gave this cigar a 93, which is a high rating. All right, number 8. Padron makes its first and I believe only appearance, the Padron 1964 Anniversary Series in Principe, which is a 46 ring gauge by 4.5 inch cigar. Arguably one of the Padrones, aside from the number 35 in the 26 series, that could make it into like a short smoke special, like smoking outside in the winter. It's a little guy.
That number 35, Senator, I think you turned me on to that.
Yeah, it's a great cigar.
I love that little cigar. It's a home run. It's a great end to an evening or the start of an evening.
Yeah.
That little
It is
cigar
awesome.
gives you the most flavor for a short smoke.
Worth every
I mean,
penny.
my goodness.
Worth
Yeah.
every
The,
penny.
The
But-
Principe, I think Rob Ayala, when we had him
I was
going
gonna
to
say, that's Rob's favorite.
He
Yep.
mentioned that
Yeah.
cigar.
He
we
loves
should
that
try
cigar.
that.
We should. It's an excellent cigar.
We should really, the only place we could do it at that size, I think, is in a short smoke special.
Mm.
You know, and it's pretty close to. I think you can get them pretty close to $10.
Mhm.
You know, they come. I think they're in boxes of 25 or 24. So,
Finally, a good cigar on a list.
the Padron 1964 Anniversary Series in Principe. You know, if you're looking to get into the 1964 series, you know we're Padron fanatics on this podcast. No denying it. That's a really nice try it before you buy it kind of cigar with Padron. You know, spend $10-15 at a B&M, a brick and mortar, and try the Padron with the Principe. Number 8. Okay, number 7. The My Father Les Bijoux 1922 in Churchill. And before I say anything else, Senator's eyes just rolled into the back of his head.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a death sentence.
It kind of
It's
is.
not a good cigar.
By the
But
way,
hold on. It does come in a smaller Vitola that I happen to like. It's very small, but
well,
very
it needs
good.
to be.
It
I
has
mean,
to
the
be,
amount
yes.
of strength in that cigar,
It's true.
it's got to be a short smoke.
Yeah, that short one's, I don't know if it's pod worthy because it's so small, but really flavorful.
that is a dark cigar Oscuro wrapper, Nicaraguan Puro, and they gave that cigar a 94.
Damn.
So what did they say about the cigar? Full?
Yeah, no, they say medium full. They don't even list it as full. Maybe the Churchill is a different Vitola. I don't, a different
know.
blend or something.
Sounds inaccurate.
Um,
I mean, I remember the entire Lee Bijou line to have a lot of strength.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we like
Yeah.
full flavor, but that
Yeah.
thing is
Over the top.
next level.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the Oliva so far.
that's common, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
All right,
it's in
number
there.
6, the Alec Bradley Black Market Churchill, another 50 ring gauge by 7-inch cigar. Interesting blend on this. Filler is Honduran and Panamanian. Binder is Ecuadorian, and the wrapper is Nicaraguan.
I don't think I've ever heard of any Panamanian leaf, filler, what have you. Ever.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's made by the Plasencias in Honduras.
Of course.
Like I said, covered in a Nicaraguan wrapper. Sumatra seed binder. The Panamanian thing is really, really interesting. Very unique for cigars for sure. I don't know if we've ever smoked a Panamanian cigar.
No. Don't want to.
Pagoda does.
I'll give anything a try.
Yes, sir. That's good.
I think I might revisit the Bijou.
We haven't done any Alec Bradley.
Yeah, we have to
No.
do
Yeah,
that.
we have to.
I think J.C. Newman, Alec Bradley, there's a couple on this list that even if we don't do the cigars that made it in the top 25, we definitely need to visit some of these brands.
People love that Alec Bradley line.
Hey, JC Newman doesn't it do that purple? What's it, Jewel? They do these. Isn't it based out of Miami? It's based out of the U.S.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think
I'm
so.
not sure. All right, before we get to the top 5 here, boys, I think we're coming into the last third here. Certainly I am, of our New World Dorado Robusto tonight. What are you guys thinking for $7?
I mean, I'll say the one thing I like that the smoke is it's almost velvety as it leaves your mouth. I really love the combustion in this cigar. I just want more flavor
Yep.
out of that.
It has taken a step up in flavor.
It has.
A step.
If it started here all the way to this point, I would feel differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. It's definitely right now where it's at is the best that it's been since I lit it. No
How far
question
down?
about
You're
it.
about 2 inches away.
Yeah,
about the same.
I'm in the last third.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Rooster, what do you think so far?
Yeah, same. I mean, it didn't really start out like that great. I mean, the smoke was delicious. I mean, you could really smell it. But I mean, I'm getting some sweet, like a little bit of sweetness and some little nutty
Yeah.
cocoa, a little bit, like faint. Nothing like overpowering.
The cognac is really helping it a lot because this thing has such a long finish. When you
Right.
pull the smoke in, they're mingling quite nicely, I will say. But I think any cigar would with this cognac.
All right, so we're into the top 5 of 2022 Cigar Aficionado's top 25 of the year. Always a controversial list. Number 5, boys. Not controversial in this room, which was a big surprise to us. The Oliva Serie V Churchill Extra, which was a 52 ring gauge by 7-inch cigar.
It's always there.
I think we rated it pretty high.
We
I think
did.
around 8.
Yeah,
No, it was very smokable.
Yeah.
I was actually really surprised.
So for the listener, we did that on episode 37,
Good cigar.
and we gave it a 7.3.
Yeah, it's a good recommend.
Everybody in the room.
Which especially for a Churchill Extra.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a time commitment, and if that could hold our attention that long, I mean, that does say something.
It does.
I think that was the episode, the Roast of Gizmo episode with the Chivas. We all gave it a 7, except Pagoda and Bam gave it 8s.
I did?
Yeah.
I take it back. I'm kidding.
So that's a
I'm kidding.
Nicaraguan Puro, again, 52 ring gauge by 7 inches. So if you're interested in that cigar, number 5 of the year, we did it on episode 37. Check it out.
I don't think Rooster got his car cleaned since then.
He traded it in.
You got rid of
Traded
it after
in,
that.
Yeah. All right, number 4, boys. The Cuban. Another Cuban, which is interesting. There are quite a few Cubans on the list this year. The Hoyo de Monterrey Elegantes, which is I believe it's a Perfecto, 47 ring gauge by 6 1/4. I think I have some of these coming for us, actually, so we can do it on the pod. I've heard very, very good things about this.
I've never
Cuban
had it.
Puro.
I'm sure you've had it.
You've had it, Rooster?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
good.
was it?
How was it?
Oh,
It was okay. It was I'm not a huge fan of Hoyos. The Hoyos need a lot of age.
A lot of time.
I don't think most of us are big fans of HDM.
I like the Epi 2 every once in a while. I may smoke that
It's
4 times a year.
morning smoke.
Yeah, but that's not 4 times a year. It's not a ringing endorsement.
So here's
It isn't.
So when we first started doing this whole Cuban movement, I had a lot of those cigars, the Epi 2s. I don't have any now, and I'm not pursuing them.
Yeah, I don't chase them either.
Yeah.
Now, I bought a box of those for my father-in-law for Christmas,
That's a nice gift.
and he was floored. He loves
It's
it.
a nice gift.
So
that cigar.
having said that, the La Hoyo series is I go for that.
Is the Rio Seco in that series?
Yeah.
That's a good cigar.
Yeah.
Big ring gauge, though. I don't like that.
It
I
is.
think it's a 54.
I like the smaller, like the little.
I want to do that on the pod, though,
The Rio Seco?
because
San Juan and the.
did
Rio
Rob
Seco.
Isla say that he liked that cigar?
I'm not sure.
I feel like someone whose opinion we trust mentioned that they liked it.
Dan,
But I
maybe.
want to do
I
it,
think Dan
or
may have
maybe Dan did, someone, because I've heard good things, but then I'll never forget Puba lit one up when I was with him once, and he put it down after a few puffs.
Oh, God.
So I kind of have to see how this.
Remember, I gave you one of those La Joyas, the small stick.
Oh, yeah.
that had a lot of flavor.
It did for this
Yeah.
little cigar.
Really?
I was really surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that
Hey,
cigar-
meets age.
that cigar got a ringing endorsement from Cigar Aficionado this year. It gave it a 95.
Wow. Wow.
That's a hell of an endorsement.
Rio Seco.
No, I do love the Oyo, that double Corona that they make. That
Yeah.
I do like that.
We should try both of those because there are 2 brands I'm hard out on. One is R&J, Romeo and Julieta. The other is Oyo. And if those got those high scores, I'm willing to give each a try. But if I can't get into either of those, I'm out.
I'm gonna bring a Romeo that I have that you guys will.
All right.
will
I'd
love it.
listen.
It's a Panatella. It's a really small stick.
Oh, I bet
But
that's
it's
cool.
from 1990s.
Of course. Of course.
It is. I mean, it's in cellophane. You've never
Wow.
seen a cigar
Oh my
like Cuban
gosh.
cigar. In
Let's
cellophane.
record that so every single listener can never ever get it.
Well said, Dan.
Those
That's a
act-
Rooster's
those
Connoisseur
act-
Corner
Holy
episode, like the
moly.
Los Tatos Deluxe that we did.
Those do come up on BR occasionally, and it wasn't that much.
Cool.
But the cigar has so much aroma. Like you just open the cellophane, it just fills up the room.
That's cool.
It smells unbelievable.
All right, so number 3, first appearance from Davidoff on the list, the Davidoff Nicaragua Diadema, which is a 50 ring gauge cigar by 6 1/2 inches, Nicaraguan Puro.
It's my least favorite Davidoff.
Big time.
The Nicaragua series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Least
Okay, so
100% agree.
I have not fallen in love with that at all. Puba, I feel like says he smokes it sometimes. Some of the guys, it's kind of a polarizing cigar. But if I'm going to try it, I want to do exactly that Vitola.
That's a big
And
cigar,
let's see.
man.
What is it, a Perfecto?
What's the dimension?
No, it's no, I think it's either a Bellicoso or a Torpedo.
Okay, I mean,
I'm
that's
not sure.
It's not a Churchill.
They gave it a 95,
5.5 inch.
6 1/2
Oof.
by 50.
But I'm saying we have to review that cigar at some point, so I want to do it in that exact Vitola.
Yeah, we haven't done Davidoff in a minute.
No, we haven't. That
I
whole
mean-
Nicaraguan line is very mild,
mild.
I think. Like the box press that
No,
they
It's
have.
not that
that
mild.
mild.
No.
I found it to be mild.
I mean, they had the 702 series. That was also Nicaraguan.
That was great.
And that was great, and they discontinued.
Yeah,
it.
that
They
was
don't
a
make
great
that
cigar.
anymore. Yeah.
So
I prefer the Yamasa.
I love
I was wondering,
Dude.
because I like one of the two.
Yeah, I like the Yamasa.
The Yamasa
more.
is awesome.
Yamasa's more.
is that a Nicaraguan cigar? or a
Yeah,
Dominican?
yeah. No, it's Nicaraguan.
I
I
don't know.
believe so.
I don't
No,
know, but
no, I might be wrong.
it's a good stick.
Might be Dominican.
A lot of
here's-
flavor. A lot
Here's
of
my
flavor.
question about Davidoff, and we can talk about this when we record this episode.
Hmm.
When we do that cigar. Have they ever released an LE or a year of the or any sort of special cigar that's
Yes.
Nicaraguan tobacco?
I can't speak to the
Because
tobacco.
now the reason why I asked that question, if Davidoff is so high on their Nicaraguan tobacco, which they released 10 years ago, why is none of the special stuff Nicaraguan? Now, I don't know if it is, but it seems like everything I've seen is highly Dominican.
So I had the year of the tiger. It was 50-50. It was okay. The year
You mean you had the rabbit?
The
I
rabbit.
had that as well.
Was the
Okay,
tiger
'cause
the one that
I've-
was striped?
I've had the tiger.
Yes, I've had
that
the
was
tiger.
the biggest waste of
I
$57.
totally yeah.
That's literally what I had to pay. I was at a
That's right, you went to-
B&M
yeah.
in Houston.
That's
So I've had that
I
cigar
couldn't
too.
believe that was so
It's-
disappointing.
It's not a great cigar, and the rabbit was very, very mild, uninteresting. But there are two annual releases that I do like: the snake that they released a while ago, and the ox. Those are pretty. Good
I didn't
cigars.
love the ox.
They're okay.
Tremendous combustion. That was like
Yeah.
a great chimney cigar, but I can't say the flavor was
Mm-hmm.
all that exciting.
And you had the snake, I think.
At the ox.
So again, the reason why I just questioned Davidoff Nicaraguan tobacco is if they're not using that to release special stuff,
Yeah.
then they must not be big believers in it either.
I think it's a great point. Honestly, I never thought about it that way, but I don't remember seeing any of these year of or LEs that they put out every year
Yep.
with Nicaraguan tobacco.
Because you would assume that the just from your eye, I don't know the makeup of everyone, right? I would think that the label would be black or some sort of not the white typical or red typical that they've released on the LEs. I would think they would have used the Davidoff
Yeah.
black labels, which they use for the Nicaraguan tobacco.
Yeah.
Another thing I see here that's interesting, I didn't know this. They only have released Nicaraguan tobacco from Davidoff for 10 years. 2013 was when they released that.
It's
So
I didn't know
fairly
that.
new.
yeah, it's fairly new.
You know, another thing we were talking about this the other day. The blenders at Davidoff, like Henrik Kellner was the
Yeah, and his son, they
was
left.
and they're gone.
Yeah.
And Eladio was the other blender that came on after Henrik Kellner, and maybe he was there at the same time, but he was part of the Master Blend series and stuff. So he's gone.
He left too.
He
Weren't
left
they?
too.
They
Wow.
left what 3 years ago, roughly 2-3 years ago.
Eladio did.
It's been a while.
And then Kellner left before that.
Yeah.
So I wonder what's going to happen to the Davidoff line.
I would like to try this one to Senator's point, also because this is a Figurado.
Cool.
I don't know if we've done a Figurado on the podcast. We should do it.
What's a figurado?
We'll figure it out.
I'll leave it there. All right, number 2. Rooster, you ready? We're gonna need you to buckle your seatbelt.
What,
We know what this
please.
is.
I'm gonna take my headphones off.
We know what it is.
I know what's coming.
Buckle up.
Does it start with an R?
Just don't
Does it
do
with an
not,
R? Does
do
it end
not
with a
exit
P?
your seat until the captain turns off the seatbelt light. Number 2, 2022 cigar of the year,
Rip that page off.
the Rocky
Support your Indian brother.
Fuck that.
the Rocky Patel 6060, which, by the way, is the biggest cigar on the list. 60 ring gauge
Holy moly.
by 6 inches.
You know what's the funniest part of that for me?
There's
So,
a lot of things.
I mean, there's a lot.
There's a lot to unpack here.
But I had no idea what the ring gauge on that cigar was. But I do remember when I got the magazine and I saw that Rocky was number 2. If you look at the photo of that cigar, there is by far more bands that cover that cigar
Oh,
than you
boy.
can actually
look
see.
at the
stick.
bands.
And
More
the
than
fact that this is a 60 ring gauge cigar makes this even more.
Look at the
ridiculous
bands.
for
I
me.
mean, it covers 3/4 of the
It's
cigar.
absurd.
Literally.
The whole cigar. Actually, 80% of the cigar is covered.
That means the wrapper sucks. They gotta put
Yeah.
fucking bands on it to cover it
No,
up.
I mean,
they're
truly.
protecting it. Please.
Truly though,
Oh, my-
in all seriousness, how
Put it
many
in
times?
cellophane.
How many times do we look at a cigar and we say, "Wow, that wrapper is just beautiful"? You can't possibly have a wrapper that's worth anything
Right.
if you want to cover it
Right,
almost
exactly.
entirely with packaging.
You want to see the damn wrapper. Wow.
Rooster,
Okay,
how was that
no.
cigar?
What?
You know he had the box at home. You know it.
He smoked a lot of those.
60.
60 ring
Every
gauge.
morning with coffee.
Oh my
But
God.
hold on, there are Rockies that we have to try here.
I totally agree.
We have to try them.
Rooster's going to be conspicuously absent that night.
No, he won't be.
So filler and binder, Nicaraguan wrapper is Mexican. They're saying it's medium full. I mean, I'll be honest. There is no chance in hell that I'm going to present that for this podcast.
Not a 60 ring gauge.
No way.
I'm willing to try a Rocky, but
Yeah.
his best.
Yeah.
Like I don't know
ALR
what
or
that is,
something?
but
ALR?
Well,
I don't know if that's the
it's
best.
ALR, but-
There's a little Rocky that they make, which is actually very good. It's little, it's small.
I think I used to like the 15 year or something. They have so many anniversaries.
There's
Yeah.
too many.
He has a
don't
lot of
know.
anniversaries,
Yeah.
Rocky.
Yeah.
There you go. And you know what I love? Before we get to number one, I love that. I don't know if you guys saw this. All of the New World retailers are advertising that the Rocky Patel 6060 is the number one non-Cuban cigar of the year. As they, because they can't sell Cuban cigars, so they're advertising this-
Even though they're number 2.
they're advertising it as the best cigar of the year that's
Wow.
not Cuban.
Even more reason not to try it.
Yeah. I just think that's very, very funny that they've been advertising. I've seen tons of, I'm sure Rocky is prompting them to do that, or feeding them the marketing materials to do so. But, yeah, they gave that a 96, boys. 96.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
When was the last time you smoked a 96? It was a pledge, I think. Right? Wasn't that written 96?
All right, boys. The number one cigar of the year. And I got to say, I think they must have listened to our podcast.
Uh-oh.
I think they must have listened to it.
What could it be?
The H. Upmann number 2 from Cuba.
Of course.
So, okay. So a couple things here.
Tremendous
Finally.
fucking cigar. Tremendous.
So we did that for the listener. I really encourage you. It was a wonderful episode. And I don't say that a lot because I'm very self-critical, but episode number 40, we gave that cigar a 9.8. Now we smoked 8-year-old.
14.
We smoked 8-year-old at the time, Upmann number 2s, but that really is some of the best of Cuban, what Cuba has to offer. So when I saw this came up as number 1, I was really, really excited about it.
Do you really have to smoke an aged Upmann 2 to love it?
So
Because
I would,
I have young ones and I love them.
so I would say this. It's funny on one of the groups that we're in. Somebody put up the other day talking about the Monte Cristo number 2 versus the Upmann number 2.
Oh.
And to me, the Monte Cristo number 2, when you're smoking the two of them young, I'll take the Monte 2 any day over the Upmann 2.
Those are both 2018s, if I'm correct, right? 2018s, the two of them?
What do you mean?
Those two cigars that were on that, they were both 2018s, I think.
I'm not sure, but
I think so.
Whoever was smoking them was asking, which do you prefer? To me, young, I prefer the Monte Cristo number 2.
Mhm.
With age, I absolutely prefer the Upmann number 2. I have some 21, 22 boxes of Upmann 2s. They just, I think they need time. So that's what's interesting is seeing Cigar Aficionado rate a mid 2022 box of Upmann number 2s as the number 1 cigar of the year.
Wow.
I'm happy to see it,
Absolutely.
but I'm also like, it's still kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, but they came to their senses when they came to the top cigar.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time in, I think, 10 or 12 years that they've given Cuban the Cuba
Yeah.
the top spot there.
I just think the thing Gizmo was saying that I agree with that is surprising, right? Is that what was the score?
98.
98. I mean, as much as we love the Upmann 2, there's no way that
We would not
give a
rate that.
2022 Upmann 2
That high.
a 98
Yeah, that's
points.
true.
I mean, we
Yeah.
just wouldn't.
Mm.
That's not what it is. A
By
Love
the way,
14
we gave the Lub 14 a 98.
right.
Mm.
With
So
some
with the
serious
age, it's fantastic. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a great cigar.
I think if we were to do,
Now, a lot of people won't know what Lub is, by the way.
it's just a factory code. We
Right.
talked about it on episode number
Right,
40.
right,
Again,
right.
for the listener, listen to episode number 40.
Mhm.
We really love the Upmann 2. We smoked an aged one. I think they need a little age. We have BRE, which is a factory code. 18s and 19s, a bunch of us do.
Mhm.
They're smoking really, really well. But
I
again,
agree.
I still think that they might need a little bit more time versus what we got with the 2014. But, it's interesting to me for them to pick this specific cigar because there are so many cigars coming out of Cuba that we've talked about 1,000 times on the podcast that
Mhm.
are smoking so brilliantly young.
Yeah.
The D4, the Monte 2, The P2 even from
Honestly,
Partagas.
the Royal Corona, the Bolivars,
The
are smoking
Bolivars
nicely
are
young.
smoking great. The BBFs are smoking great. So it's interesting to see them choose this one, which out of all of them, I think needs the most time. And I would bet if we smoked from the same box the Cigar Aficionado had, we smoked that May or June or whatever it was, 2022 that they smoked and gave it a 98. I don't think that we would have cracked. I don't think we would have cracked the 90s.
I agree with everything you're saying, but the one thing I'm actually really happy that they picked that cigar in particular, even young, is I don't think the Upman 2 gets as much credit as it
100%.
deserves.
You're 100% right.
I say that because it's just not as ubiquitous as like, Monty 2s you can find anywhere, Europe, Asia, doesn't matter where you are, you can find them. Partagas D4, my favorite, you can find it anywhere.
Even a P2.
P2, same thing. You can't find, I'm truly, every time I'm in London, I'm in Asia, I can't find Upman 2s. You don't see that laying around most retail stores.
Yeah.
So I feel
also,
like
they
you
also
have
don't
to,
come up online very often.
that
they
as
don't.
well.
They
So
don't.
I feel like you have to really pursue that cigar to actually be able to experience and understand how great it is. So
Yeah.
I like that they gave it the spotlight that it deserves so that
100%.
folks know they should actually pursue that
Totally.
cigar.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love that they gave that cigar the rating that they did and put it number one.
That's awesome.
But to your point, it's just an interesting choice, because even in our battle of the pyramids, had that not been as aged as it was, it would not have taken number one. It just wouldn't have.
I'll just say the thing that frustrates me. So I think putting that cigar number one, I don't have any problem with whatsoever. I want that cigar to get its time. The thing that just surprises me is the actual raw scores they give these cigars. I don't know why they have to be so high.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
honestly,
agree.
the cigar of the year could be a 93-point cigar, and I'd be fine with that. It doesn't have to get a 98. And the thing that doesn't compute for me is that Cigar Aficionado is from the exact same company that Wine Spectator is. And one of the reasons I was talking about wine ratings earlier, what I like about Wine Spectator is they give high scores sparingly.
Yeah.
Truly, some of the best bottles of wine that you can reasonably source at a local wine shop, Wine Spectator will give like a 93, a 94. You find a 96, 97, 90. I mean, some of these bottles can cost, it can be $500 bottles of wine. It's very sparingly that they hand that out. And I don't know why the same doesn't translate over to their cigar publication.
It's disappointing because from what you're saying, Wine Spectator is very discerning then.
It is.
Why the fuck is CA not so discerning?
Well, I'll tell you this.
You're all holding a 93 rated cigar.
Yeah.
How about
Which is
that?
crazy. This
It's
is not
ridiculous.
This is not a 93. It's not even going to come close to
And
that.
I didn't know they were both owned by the same.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Marvin
Yeah.
Shankin.
I had no idea.
Same with Whiskey Advocate.
Yeah,
They're all part
really?
of the same.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I mean, like this being a 93, even the 25th, like the one on the bottom, like
Yeah.
what that get? 93, 92,
92,
93?
92.
And the Upman 2 is at 98.
And if you open Cigar Aficionado right now, the latest issue that just came out with the guys from the Fox NFL morning show, Howie and Terry and Jimmy and Kurt and those guys.
Don't forget Strahan.
And Strahan.
Yeah.
Well, we can forget Strahan.
Of course.
We can forget
Please
Strahan.
name him first.
I knew the Eagles fan in the room. It was very intentional that he left off the one giant on that set.
It wasn't intentional, but maybe it was. It was subconscious.
We need a football episode. We do.
I'll stay home. What's interesting is if you open that up, to Senator's point, very rarely, even in a normal issue, do they give cigars under a 90. Like you look at the top Lonsdales, Churchills, Robustos, whatever it may be, Torpedoes. I mean, if they list 15 cigars, maybe only 3 or 4 of them get 80s. And they're all high 80s. I don't think I've ever seen an 83, an 87, an 80, 85. Because, and for me as a reader, they've trained me to believe that when I see an 80, that it's a horrible cigar.
Right.
As if, like, almost parallel to us training our listeners that if we give a cigar under a 5, don't go out and buy the cigar. And to your point, it's an absolute miscalibration
Agreed.
of their scoring system, that they're giving a cigar that if we smoked it for how much we love it, it wouldn't even come close to a 98. The Upman 2.
Tonight's ratings, I think, will be, very telling.
Yeah.
to that rating system that they
Absolutely.
have, whatever it is.
And I mean, most of the top 25, we just went through them all. I mean, I can't see us giving most of those cigars.
How many cigars do you think they really smoke to come up with the top 25?
That's
a
good
great
question, and we've asked ourselves that question.
So apparently what they do is they take the top ratings from the entire year. They use the same box or get new boxes. They reband them blind. They send them out to their people and they rate them.
But they don't smoke the whole cigar.
They're not smoking that whole cigar. Do you know how long that would take? I mean, we're degenerates, right? We smoke a lot of cigars. It would take us a while.
Yeah.
And
Especially to smoke them down. I mean, I can't imagine that these guys are smoking these cigars past the halfway point.
Senator can do it.
I could do it in a week.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think he can.
I'd love to buy, you know what? I'm going to buy every one of these cigars, give them to Senator and see how long they
not
take.
that list. The list,
Unbanded.
the lizard list, I'll do in a week.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
that list.
That list he would drop after 3 cigars out.
Oh, man. So, you know, the other thing that I found interesting too, because I didn't do the math on it. I mean, they're pricing this, an Upman 2 at $32, which is an $800 box fresh, which is, the math isn't right on that. It's a little high. But you know, if it's not crazy, I mean, given Habano's pricing, I mean, $32 for that stick young is a lot of money.
Do you think a lot of these Cuban cigars, since their price increase, they've got a larger marketing budget, and they've started coming into CA now?
Very well could be. I mean, they're not running ads, but
No,
I don't.
they're not.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I just for me, I'll put it very simply and very lightly, without much accusation. I have trust issues with the list that we just went through. I have trust issues with it. I just don't.
I mean, I do.
I
every
just
year.
don't
You
buy
know,
it.
I
I
gotta
don't
s-
buy
I do
it.
every year.
It's a fact.
To Pagoda,
It's a known fact.
To
Yeah.
Pagoda's point, there's new ownership in Habanos, right? Very wealthy ownership. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Of course.
All of a sudden, ownership changes, or an additional owner comes on board, and now you're seeing Cubans in the top 25,
Yeah.
where before it hasn't really been very prevalent.
Yeah.
Send Shankin some, like, pre-Castro Cubans.
Or a yacht.
Take
Let's
good
send him a
care
yacht.
of
For that guy out of China, is a drop in a bucket.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it does present, when you go through this list, not even being jaded. I mean, our data speaks to it that we actually, I think, rate New Worlds better than we do Cubans at this point. But it really presents serious trust issues for me with this, that it bothers me that this is the authority. And we go through this list and it's like, the ones we have smoked, I mean, we disagree with. The ones we haven't, there's no way in hell that they're 93, 94, 96 point cigars. It's just not the case.
Be
I know.
interesting.
We need to start our own magazine.
Yeah,
There you go.
The Lizard.
The Lizard Ledger.
Yeah. Oh, if we published
great
that Lizard
Yeah,
Ledger,
the-
it'd be very incriminating.
It would be very damning. A lot of things end up in the ledger
yeah.
that we don't want publicized. All right. Well, that's the Cigar Aficionado Top 25 of 2022. Nice to go through it again with you boys. We're going to smoke a few of those. And we're smoking number 14 right now, the New World Dorado in Robusto by AJ Fernandez. Coming to the end of this thing here, boys. What are you thinking? What are the vibes?
The only thing I'm going to give this credit for is that I was able to smoke this all the way down. And
Yeah, I'm
there
with
was
you.
nothing offensive
It's
down
true.
the stretch. That was the biggest surprise for me with this cigar.
I've got about.
I'll
Sorry.
complain about how I want more from this cigar. It did pick up in the last third. I think Bam was mentioning that earlier. But I am shocked. I mean, I see Gizmo's down to the nub. Bam is. I'm close to it.
Mhm.
And I'm not offended by anything I'm getting in the cigar.
No.
No, but that's good. So much has got to do with the construction, the smoke output.
Mm.
I think whether or not we think about it, I think it adds to.
Yeah.
you
To your
know.
point, the experience is good.
Yeah.
It's a little boring though.
Yeah.
There's
It's not. I mean,
Well-
it makes you wanting more.
If you're about an inch and a half from the bottom. I got a half inch left. There's a lot of decent pepper here now. Not
I'll tell you
bad.
this. I'm thinking that for the last 10 minutes, I've been thinking about, okay, when we end the podcast tonight, what cigar am I going to smoke next? Am I going to have a My Father Lancero? Am I going to have a Liga 9 Corona? Am I going to have a Padron? Am I going to have a Cuban? Like, I'm thinking about what's in my Sotolo and thinking about what is actually going to satisfy me after I put the cigar down tonight. That is the problem with the cigars. That's where my mind has gone. This has not satisfied me.
You've already moved on.
Yeah. I'm already mentally out of it.
I agree with that. But the only thing that's going to factor into my rating, this is one of those few cigars where I can see the person who might like this cigar.
I agree.
There are some sticks that we review that I don't enjoy, and I also can't understand how really anyone can enjoy. For anyone who likes a milder but somewhat flavorful cigar, or that wants to venture into cigars that are more Padron-like in flavor notes and strength, this can be a very gentle, friendly entry point into getting on that journey. So I do see some utility. Now, for me, much further along in that journey, this doesn't satisfy for all the reasons that guys have mentioned.
That's right.
But I can at least see there are people that might enjoy this stick.
I totally agree with that.
I wouldn't go out and buy a box or even a 5-pack. I mean, I might buy some to hand them out. I don't think I would like keep any in my humidor to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many other sticks, even at that price point, that will satisfy me more.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We can name them all right now. The $7 sticks that we love.
Yeah. You know, to your point, I am certainly not going to pursue this to put in my guest humidor. I'm not going to hand this out to anyone.
Mhm.
I can think of so many other cigars that will fill that slot.
Mhm.
To me, this has just been a very mediocre cigar tonight, unfortunately.
Radio.
All right, boys. Are you ready to do the formal liquor rating on the Hine Rare? I guess it's a VSOP, you said. Cognac.
Yes.
All right.
9.
Bam Bam, you're up.
9 for a Hine.
You know, I am going between an 8 and a 9 because I really do. I do love this.
Yeah.
It drank so smooth. You get a little bit of an apple note, a tiny bit of caramel. It's really quite fucking good. And for the price, how can I not? I'm giving it a 9.
Excellent. Pagoda.
Yeah, a 9.
Yeah.
All right. Senator.
Wow. Honestly, I thought I was going to be the highest score on this.
Put your nose in there. The aroma is intoxicating.
It is.
It's crazy.
Wonderful.
It's crazy.
It's fantastic.
Really good.
For the price?
So my only complaints, it's slightly thin, slightly. And I want a little richer flavor, but there's a time and a place for everything. And I think by design, this is not like Remy. This is not like some of the other ones that we reviewed. I think for what they're trying to do here, they've done it. They've like completely hit it out of the park. I truly, this is the only VSOP that I would every single time drink neat. Every time.
The neat, that's a big component of this is neat.
Well, and there
Huge.
aren't
but
many...
that's a testament to the spirit, right?
I totally agree.
If we're being honest, when we have to add ice, it's just because there's some rough edges that we just want to smooth out a little bit.
Yep. And there aren't many spirits that we've had that we haven't had to put ice in.
That's right. I mean, usually it's like an XO that's $200 a bottle. Yeah. It's a 18-year single malt. And, you know, it's something you have to pay a lot to experience.
Yeah.
The fact that this is close to $50 and a VSOP, I'm also at a 9. I would slot this in regularly. I would buy another bottle, and I would certainly be drinking this again.
To piggyback on Senator here, I'm absolutely going to buy a bottle of this.
Me too.
No question.
Yeah.
It's a 9 all day for me.
And I will use the bottle as a decanter because it's quite nice.
It's excellent. And I think the price point, if this was $100 bottle or $120, I think the value might be questionable. But at $50, this is a 9 all day long.
And you just sparked a thought, because when we started drinking this, I think it was Gizmo who said, you know, I could see if this were an $80, $85 bottle. And that's a testament to just like the value you get out of this. And I agree. Literally, if this was priced at $75, I would take a sip of this neat and say, wow, this is incredibly smooth.
Yep.
There's some really nice complexity in terms of flavor notes. Little thin, but my complaints would be very sparing. I could see this at a higher price point, and I think that's why this is easily deserving of a 9 at where this is.
Here's a question, though. Let's say it went up to, let's say this was $80, but because it lacks the legs that you mentioned, would you see it dropping to an 8 rating? which is still an excellent score, by the way.
If this was 150, I'd be at an 8.
Yeah, 150.
150
Well,
for
I'd be
sure.
at
He's saying 85.
$80.
At 85, I might drop it down to an 8 because at that price point, I would be more inclined to pick up a Remy 1738 than I would this. But at this price point, I'm going to drink a lot of this.
Big time.
I agree.
And that Remy that you mentioned it's got so much flavor.
It does.
It's really delicious. It's like it's
rich.
it's like a meal.
Yeah.
It's so tasty.
Yeah. All right, boys. I don't need to do the math. It's a flat 9 for the Hine Rare Cognac VSOP. What a delicious, delicious cognac.
I'm just going to say something real quick. There's a theme here. Now,
Yeah.
if you look across spirits, wine, anything we've done, the Brits know their alcohol. I'm deadly serious. No, I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm deadly serious.
Can I just say, I feel like we need to make a trip
Oh,
for business research.
that would be nice.
For lizard research, we need to go
Well,
to
To
the-
Scotland. To Scotland.
To Scotland. We need
Scotland
to go.
for sure.
Our next Cuba trip is
But
all business.
I'm just saying the Brits
and that's what
because
Mrs. Bam Bam's going to hear.
I'm just saying the Brits because they're not making any of these spirits we love, right? Single malts are not coming from the UK.
Yep.
This is not coming from the Cognac is certainly not. It's coming from France. But it's amazing to me. You just look at this British guy goes and explores Cognac and produces this wonderful spirit that we've all enjoyed. You look at Paul Roger, you look at Bollinger, have become institutions more so in the UK than they have in France where it's actually made.
And
Wow.
with Lizard Nation.
That's correct.
Well,
So I'm just giving credit.
It's
I'm
true.
just sorry for any of our British listeners out there, discerning palates that seem to align with mine because for whatever reason, I mean, honestly, I do pursue, like why I wanted to try this. I knew that there are many Brits that really appreciate this. And I wanted to try it because I happen to align for many reasons with that.
Look at the
And
smile on
it's
Pagoda's face
He's
when
very
you're complimenting the Brits. Look at him.
he's
He's so
satisfied.
happy. Look at
no,
him.
no.
Can
I
I
was-
not compliment their palate?
No, I
All
was-
right, let's not compliment their entire palate because their breakfast choices are a little questionable.
Well, I agree with that.
I mean, beans, really?
Well, beef drippings.
Jesus Christ.
Well, they put beef drippings on toast.
All
That's
right,
a little
okay.
weird.
That's a little weird. That's a
No.
lot weird.
I did say spirits.
So true.
All right, so I just want to briefly, because I think this is valuable, let's just briefly run through the cognac ratings we've done before we do the cigar. So the VSOP from Remy Martin got an 8.4. The XO, of course, one of the best spirits that I think I and we have ever had. The XO from Remy Martin was a 10. The Croisette VS got a 7.8. The Remy Martin 1738 we've talked about quite a bit, a 9.3. And I think that's it. Did I miss one?
Did you say this? The Hine?
And the Hine, yeah, 9.0.
9.
Yeah,
So
9.0 tonight.
I think, and I
It's a
hope at
perfect
this
rating.
point that it is clear and safe to say we love cognac.
Yeah.
How
And
cool is that?
I was
That's
in
awesome.
Florida. I think
And before this podcast ever started, I never had cognac.
me neither.
It wasn't in my world.
I mean,
Me
I told
neither.
you the only
In my
reason I
realm.
finally wanted to give this a go. My dad always wanted to pair cognac with
That's right.
cigars. He'd
Yeah.
always, I'd come by his place, we'd have a little cognac, and I just, I could appreciate it, but I just was skeptical as to how much breadth there was in cognac that I would enjoy, and I cannot believe. I mean, truly, it's preferable for me at this point. I'm not even kidding. I feel great when I drink cognac.
Me too.
I never have a bad hangover. It's
Nope.
just a wonderful, complex, smooth, refined spirit that's deserving of an excellent cigar.
And with any cigar, it pairs perfectly.
So I had one conversation with Mr. Senator Senior, and we were talking about something, and it all culminated to one thought: let Senator think about it. Very accurate.
Yeah.
That's a compliment. By
He's a
the way.
mensch. Senator's a mensch. He's brought it to us. An excellent pairing tonight. And again, I can't tell lizards out there who are looking for wonderful pairings for their cigars, wonderful alcoholic pairings. Try cognac, man. Try some of these cognacs. You don't need to go XO. Clearly, there's a lot of $50 spirits that we've done in cognac that are really, really working.
How much?
Even the Croisette at a 7.8. I mean,
that's like a $30
that's
bottle.
a $30 bottle.
Yeah,
It
but I do-
performed brilliantly.
I do remember we put some ice in that because it did have some
We
edges.
did,
Yeah, it had a
'cause
little
that's
bit of a
VS.
bite. Yeah.
And,
Right.
and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with putting out. I mean,
no.
the majority of bourbons, even a lot of single malts that we drink,
Agreed.
we do put a little bit of ice. But it's a testament when you have a spirit that you actually prefer without ice. It's that smooth. It's not going to rip apart your throat. That's exactly the kind of spirit that I think is just deserving of extra praise that they've been able to produce that.
And I was in Miami last week. I think you guys saw the photo. And where I was, they only had a VS of Cavassier. And it was really, really serviceable.
Awesome.
It wasn't amazing. It was serviceable, but I preferred that to the options that they had for Scotch and some of the other things. Like, it really worked, and I was totally satisfied.
You're actually a connoisseur outside this door.
Well, I'm a cigar insider, as you know.
Yes, you are.
Your own words.
Yes, sir.
I throw them back at you.
But how crazy is that?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, who would think that, Gizmo would sit down at a bar and his preference would order cognac?
Yeah.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
It would not have happened without this podcast.
It would not have.
No doubt.
No way. All right, boys, we have reached the end of our evening here with the New World Dorado in Robusto by AJ Fernandez. Are you guys ready to do the formal lizard rating? All right. Rooster, you're up.
It's a 6.
Okay.
Because I don't think I would buy a box. And if there's, if it's a cigar that I'm going to go for, like I'm going to buy a box, it's going to be higher than a 7.
Yeah.
This cigar, it just kind of felt me like it needed more. It needed more flavor. I was getting more flavor out of the smoke coming out of the cigar than the cigar itself. So for that, I mean, it's smokable. You could have it. You could give it to a guest. I mean, it's mild to medium, but just needed more out of it, especially for a Nicaraguan blend. I think it needs more. So for me, it's a 6.
All right, Senator.
So I don't disagree with anything Rooster said there. I've been debating between a 6 and a 7. And I'm feeling generous in the sense that I can't discount some of the things that this cigar did shockingly well at its price point. The fact that I could smoke it down all the way to the end and not an ounce of harshness, the flavor didn't turn, it was consistent. Does it have enough flavor for what I pursue? No. That precludes it from an 8, 9, or a 10. Will I buy a box of these? Absolutely not. If someone handed me one of these and I had no cigars, am I going to be offended and all that upset? No, it's very smokable. Can I see this being really attractive to someone who traditionally smokes mild cigars and is trying to kind of step up in terms of flavor and even a little bit of strength, that maybe this could be a really good bridge for them to some of those cigars that we pursue with a lot of flavor? I think it could. The construction I thought was really tremendous. I mean, seriously, I looked at everyone's cigar in the room, burned evenly, ash held on.
Good structure.
I mean, even Gizmo doesn't have ash in his lap.
I resent the implication.
I mean, nobody. And
I see a little bit of ash. Yeah, it's right there.
There's no ash. That's not ash.
Okay.
And so it deserves credit for that. And I really enjoyed just blowing out the smoke. It was velvety. While I wanted a little more flavor in that smoke, it was enjoyable from that sense. So while it's not something that I'm going to pursue actively, I can see the utility. I think for what it may be designed for, there is a market and a smoker for it. So I'm going to round up to a 7.
So I had a rough experience. About a quarter of the cigar was a little tough for me. I'm at a 6 for sure on this. I think I would have gone 7 had that quarter of the cigar been better for me, but I'm absolutely at a 6. I will not buy this. I have 5 more cigars in this box. I'll be handing it out to people. I will not smoke another one. That is probably the last New World Dorado that I will ever smoke in my life, unless we do it again on this podcast, but absolutely a 6 for me all day.
All right.
Pagoda.
It's a 5 for me. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I didn't even get a bit, like I thought it was just really so. I think the only reason I think it ended up getting a 5 is because of the construction and the smoke output, and it was velvety, and it's one of the things I was just smoking without feeling anything really.
Yeah.
So
and slight cocoa here and there, but that doesn't do enough for me to justify even giving it a higher score.
So let's assume the microphones weren't here.
Yeah.
Right. And I handed you the cigar. One of us handed you this cigar. Would you have finished it?
Maybe not.
Or would you have put it down? Had it not been for the podcast recording, would you have put the cigar down or would you have smoked it down?
I didn't think it was pleasant in the first third at all. Even all the way up to the first half, it didn't improve dramatically for me to continue smoking it till the end. I do think it did become better in the last third, but nothing significantly, you know.
I mean, I'm
Wow.
honestly not that surprised to hear that from Pagoda. He likes a full flavored
Yeah.
New World cigar.
And he likes an interesting New World cigar.
Yeah, and this is not full flavored.
It's
This
not.
isn't even
Yeah.
close to full
No.
flavored. You know, even my rating, I'm not giving it. I'm being charitable only because there were things that surprised me about this cigar, like the construction at its price point,
Mhm.
the combustion, and that I could smoke it down and not have anything offensive that just made me want to throw the thing.
Yeah, and
in
I think
the
we all
ashtray.
agree with everything you said about the construction,
Yeah.
the draw, the ash holding up,
Yeah.
because of all of that, you know, it does deserve somewhere
There's
between a
merit.
6 and a
There's
7.
some
Yeah,
merit
there
to
is,
that.
there
And
There
is.
there
is.
never being a point. I mean,
Yeah.
Giz obviously his first quarter of that he was offended by what he was getting, but there was never a point where I was smoking it that I said, "Oh my gosh, this is just horrible."
Yeah.
I just said, "I want more. Just give me
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
flavor."
Yeah.
So that's why I was charitable. But
Yeah,
I
I-
can see why Pagoda
Yeah.
would not appreciate this.
Wow.
And Bam, I know you have to give your rating,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
other thing I want to say quickly about the construction and burn is thank God that I had the amount of time that I did in the tower, because can you imagine smoking this thing wet? It would have been
Not
Well,
good.
that I mean,
Really,
that's
really
any
tough.
cigar, honestly.
Yeah, it
I mean,
would have been
it's
really,
just-
really
Yeah,
tough.
yeah.
I think it was a blessing in disguise with the cognac pairing because that really helped the cigar a lot.
I agree.
Like,
did.
if there's one cigar you want to bloody dip in the cognac, this is it.
Or you could
I'm kidding.
You could pull an Arnold and
You're not
rub it.
kidding. It's so true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh.
All right, Bam, you're up.
I have to give this a 7.
Okay.
I think there's enough merit in it, and that the analogy of it being a bridge cigar. I happen to think that we have some responsibility to the listener to give them options. This is a perfect gateway or a bridge cigar to a higher flavor profile. And I was not offended at all. And I happen to love medium to full flavored cigars. I
Yeah,
liked
I
it
mean,
from the
it's-
beginning. It was
yeah.
okay. The last half inch was actually quite flavorful. It was peppery for me. It was okay. A 7 is an okay rating.
There was nothing offensive about
It's an
it.
okay cigar.
Right.
Yeah.
I do take offense to the 5 and a 6. I'm just
The
gonna-
6
I'm
I can
sorry.
understand.
I'm gonna put
the
it out
5
there.
is hard for me. But
Yeah,
knowing Pagoda's palate
That's true.
that like
Very true.
craves flavor, I can
Yeah,
understand why
yeah.
this was hard for him.
Right.
Now, given everything you guys just said about,
Oh, boy.
disputing the ratings, the formal Lizard rating on this cigar is a 6.2.
That's
And
not a
I
recommend.
think that's perfect, though.
I don't think it's
For the-
accurate.
I do.
To me, it's a
I
recommend.
think
I would
that's accurate.
recommend
I
it.
do because
I
I
think
guess
it's accurate.
It's
the
tough.
reason
It's
I
tough.
can live with
Well,
that rating.
here, listen, you can buy 5 cigars for me
No
tonight.
thanks.
Okay, well, then that's
It's-
not a recommend,
It's
is
not
it?
for me, but you know what? Someone out there would fit with that profile.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when you're rating a cigar, if I'm rating it, it's based upon if I like it or
I know.
not.
I know.
I'm not rating because if somebody else will not
I know.
like it or not. So,
Well,
you know,
that's a tough one.
No, that's all true. That's all
It's-
true.
I
But
know
I think
that.
what Bam and I are saying is if we had no cigars and someone handed us this cigar,
I
we would smoke it all the
of
way
course,
and not
yeah.
be so upset or offended.
I would not
Right.
put it down.
We would just then be
And
asking
we didn't
after
put
we
it down.
I know.
Yeah,
We
after we
smoked it.
finished it, we'd be asking for another cigar because we would just need
Right.
more.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
ready.
I
I
didn't
am
put the
ready.
Calaveras down, by the way. I smoked it right.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
This is better than the Las Calaveras.
Yeah,
No,
this
it is. It is.
Oh,
It is
no
definitely
doubt
better.
about it.
Listen, let's
Yeah.
not even talk about
Yeah.
that cigar.
I'd
Jesus
smoke
Christ.
toilet paper over the Las Calaveras.
No,
Let's just be
no,
clear.
I like the way Bam said newspaper rolls.
Oh,
That's a
that-
new one. I
that's
like
that brick
I like
house.
that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, boys. So, an excellent evening, despite the cigar not performing as we'd hoped. We had a 9.0 on the Hine Rare Cognac VSOP and a 6.2 on the New World by AJ Fernandez Dorado in Robusto. For a $7 cigar, 6.2, I guess that's fair.
Hmm.
Performed, I think that's an appropriate score, I really do.
Okay. I'm in agreement.
All right, Bam.
Kind of.
All right, boys, an excellent night. Great chatting with you all, and we'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram, at Lounge Lizards Pod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.